So, we're actually already almost ready with this section. All there's left to do for now is to add some buttons all over the interface. So as I mentioned at the end of the last lecture, what we need to do now is to basically add these 3 buttons here to each of the facts. So to each of these list items here, right? So that shouldn't be too hard, right? So let's come here to each of these facts. So basically each of these list items that we have inside our list is a fact. And so now, well, we simply add these buttons here. So button, which again doesn't do anything. And then here we want this emoji. So we're using these 3 emojis for upvoting, for mind-blowing, and for false, basically. Now on a Mac, you can get the emoji picker by using Control, Command, and then the spacebar. So that will look like this. Or on Windows, you can use the window key plus the period sign. So this one here. Or if you just cannot make it work somehow, then I also, to help you, pasted these emojis here into data.js. So down here. So actually I will just come here and copy them. So this is for the upvote, and in the first fact we have 24 votes for interesting, 9 for mind-blowing, and 4 for false. So basically the same numbers that we have over there. And yeah, these numbers, they actually don't even matter anyway. It's just so that we have something. Okay, so that's the first. Here the number is 9, and I will get the emoji in a second. And then 4. So let's grab them both. But again, you can just do this. So that's Control, Command, Space on a Mac, and the Windows plus the period sign. Okay. All right, I deleted the 4. So let's just take a look at what that looks like. And now I need to reload it. Sometimes that's necessary. And okay, so here are the 3 buttons, but there are some things that are wrong with it, so that are different. And let's start with the first thing, which is that here, this text is actually bold. So that's easy to do because there is an HTML element just for that. And actually there are 2 of them. So one is simply the B element. So just B, which stands for bold. And so indeed it makes the text bold. However, that B is not a semantic element. So it's not an element that has some meaning. And so in a newer version of HTML, which is HTML5, we instead of the B tag or the B element, we use strong. So strong basically means that this is very important text. And then as a consequence of that, the browser will make it bold. So it still is bold, but now it has the meaning that the text is very important. So the B is more for formatting, which should be for CSS, while strong actually has some meaning. And if you think that's all the same, or that it doesn't really matter, well, that's not a problem too, because in fact here all we want to do is to really make it work. All right, so that looks nice. But now there's one more thing, which is that very clearly here, these 3 buttons here are grouped together, right? So they are here below all of this, and they are kind of nicely in a group. So they are basically in a box. And we already know how to do that, right? Because we created many boxes before. So boxes with meanings. So we created the header, which is basically a box. Form is also just a box which holds some stuff. And we have main, aside, and section. However, these buttons here, they don't really have any of those meanings. And so here we can just use a generic box, which basically has no meaning at all. It's just really just a box. And this is called a div. So let's grab the buttons and put it inside of this box. And so since this is a box, this will now create basically a new line. So yeah, so just like this. So this box basically goes all the way here and it creates a new line before it and after it. But that's no problem because we will fix that later with CSS. So keep in mind that when we're writing HTML, we really only care about the content, really not about what it looks like. Okay. But anyway, let's just copy the buttons here and then just update the numbers a little bit. Let's see what we have. So 11, 2, and 0. So 11, 2, 0. And there we go. Now, actually, I'm noticing something wrong here. So we did something that is not really allowed and which in fact doesn't make a lot of sense. So we created this div here, so this box, right inside of the paragraph. And again, that really doesn't make a lot of sense. So instead, this is just another element inside of the list. So I just cut it here and move it outside of the paragraph. Oh, okay. And now the same thing here. So a div inside a paragraph doesn't make a lot of sense. Okay, and now I saved it, and now it looks exactly the same, but now it is correct. So we have the paragraph, and then after the paragraph, we have this box. So the box with the buttons. Okay, and now we're almost done. The only thing that's left is, well, besides completing all these buttons here, so the only thing that's left is still this button here. So this button here says close when the form is open, and it says share effect when it's closed. But again, of course, that is only possible with JavaScript. So that's one of the dynamic effects that I mentioned in the first section. So of course we can't do that now, but I will already put this button here. And as you see, it is right here in the header. So let's put that here in our header box. Okay. So it's a button and the text is share effect. And so then later we will have the button open the form. For now, nothing works, of course. And all right, that's actually already it. So that's the HTML that we need to get started with our project. So I hope that you had some fun writing this code with me, that you learned a thing or two, or many things, hopefully. And yeah, if you want to now style it, so to make it look very close to this one here, then let's very quickly move on right to the next section. So I hope to see you there very soon.